Okay, so once again, welcome back to the channel. It is time for another motorcycle movie review, and today we're going to be talking about Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary, re-envisioning, remake, reboot, released in 2019, based off of the Stephen King novel. The original movie was released in 1989, and Pet Sematary 2 was released in 91, I believe. I did not do my due diligence and go back and watch both the old movies. I cannot remember them. I was a kid when I watched them, teenager when I watched them again, most likely. Somehow some of the facts are still rolling around in my head, but whatever. Let's talk about the remake. So, movie starts off with a overhead shot of some foresty wooded area leading up to a home, which then pans down to a vehicle with bloody palm prints and, of course, blood trail leading into the home. And then that's it. That's the opening scene. We fade to Jason Clarke, which is our main character, protagonist in the film. He's a very good actor. I like him. He's very expressive. His face shows a lot. He is usually a bad guy, which is weird. I believe we have the right of way, and I hate this turn. He's usually a bad guy. Thank you for not killing me. He was not in the Planet of the Apes series, the reboot. He was a good guy, but most of his films he's either right down the middle or just straight up goon. So, he plays the character Lewis, who is a doctor, and his wife, played by Amy Semmets, don't really know her too well, and she plays the character Rachel. His daughter, don't know that young actress at all. She plays the character Ellie, and the little boy Gage is played by a set of twins, or one twin. Set of twins? Set means two twins. One twin. Played by two kids. So, they're in a car proceeding to their new home, which I believe they purchased in whatever area this takes place in. I believe it's New Hampshire. A lot of Stephen King stuff takes place in New Hampshire, I think. I think he's got a thing for the Hamps. Either way, they rolled up to the house. Everything's normal, other than that scene, which you don't know if it's the last family who was there. You don't know if it's a precursor of things to come. You don't know anything, but you just know that this family is approaching this house, and they're all happy about it, of course. They roll up, they view their home. Immediately, a Rinko truck drives by, which is, I guess, some type of fuel dispensary truck. Super fast, 60, 70 miles an hour down this residential street. So they're already kind of alluding to the fact that this truck's going to be a problem. And then the guy goes to work. Everything's fine. He returns to his job as a doctor at a small clinic, and he's doing his thing while the mother and daughter are at home. Of course, Gage is there as well. But while the mother is at home and cleaning and straightening and preparing their new living situation, the daughter, of course, runs off without supervision into the woods. Now, mind you, before this happened, like the day before this, like, they don't give you a lot of days. You don't know how the time period is forming. There's a group of kids just walking through their property, masked up with like foxes and cats and dogs, and they go to a pet cemetery, which is, of course, spelled incorrectly, just to bury their pets. And right off the bat, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Like, nah. One, I don't like strangers. Two, you're on my property, get off it. And three, hell no. It's kids in mass burying pets, and they just looking at you like, you crazy? Already bad, ominous. Don't like it. So either way, this happens the day before. The girl, of course, wanders off into the pet cemetery area and sees the various burial mounds and crap, and she decides, hey, there's a giant wall here. I'm gonna climb it. Starts to climb this, what I believe to be a massive beaver dam, and of course she slips and falls. Don't kill me, lady. And gets stung by a wasp because she stepped foot first into a wasp nest. And boom, John Lithgow appears. He plays the character Judd. He's basically the neighbor who's been in this area his whole life. He knows the town, such and such and such. He aids the little girl. Mother shows up. Of course, it's like, hey, what's going on here? She fell. He helped her. Hi, I'm your neighbor. Nice to meet you. And then they go off about their day. He basically says, hey, these woods are dangerous. pretty much allude to the fact you need to keep your kid out of these woods. Whatever. So, you know, they meet and greet. Father gets home. They have a nice dinner together. They enjoy pleasantries with their neighbor. And then the father, Lewis, asks Jason Clarke, he asks basically, hey, how far does my land extend? He's like, yeah, about 50 acres. Is that Pet Sematary part of my land? Judd says, yeah, that's yours. How far back does the land go? Judd says, farther than you never need to go. And then it just leaves it at that. Another ominous undertone, whatever. Next day, Jason goes back to work, or Lewis. I hate when I do that, but I do flip back and forth between their character names and their movie names. If you watched any of my movie reviews, you should be used to it by now. So, Jason Lewis goes back to work, and then his small town clinic gets immediately overrun with excitement. Some dude got freaking mangled. He got hit by a car. Drug, face is all busted up, brains hanging out the side of his head. He's basically dying right in front of him. He's trying to save him, of course, because he's a doctor. The guy's convulsing. He stops, grabs his arm, freezes, and then done. He dead. He gone. So the Lewis sends the nurse out to go make the final arrangements or whatever, get some help or medevac, but she's far too late, of course. And all of a sudden, he has a weird experience. The body of the dead guy sits up on the table, starts talking to him, and then he kind of flips out. The nurse comes back in. He blinks back into reality. The guy's dead still. Nothing of that nature actually happened. He just had a weird-ass out-of-body experience. Okay, fine. He goes home, tells his wife he had a really bad day. She consoles him, of course, and then they go about their lives for the next however many hours. And it is now Halloween time. Their cat, Church, named after Winston Churchill, is struck and killed on the road by a truck. You learned about the cat's fate because Judd comes over and says, hey, your cat got hit by a truck. Now, before this, the little girl, Ellie, had, of course, found her way over to Judd's house because she keeps wandering off. It was like, basically broke into his house. She didn't break in, but she got in. He's going through his stuff, and he's like, hey, you go through other people's stuff on a normal basis? He's like, no. They get to talking. She tells him about the cat. His full name's Winston Churchill, named after the famous Winston Churchill. You get the backstory of the cat. They just call him Church for short. Boom. Now we're back up to the present. Judd knows about the cat. He knows it's the girl's cat. He knows the girl loves the cat. He tells the father, Lewis, that the cat is dead. So he goes out to the middle of the road to find the cat. The little girl pops up on him. It's like, hey, we gotta go trick-or-treating. They, of course, hide the cat because they don't want the little girl to know that her precious kitten is dead. And Judd goes, hey, we need to bury this cat tonight. You need to come back and talk to me. The Lewis is like, oh, okay. I'll see you later. So they go about their business once again, trick-or-treating. And then Lewis and Judd meet up later that night to bury the cat in the pet cemetery. Now, of course, Judd is so heartbroken that his little friend now has lost her kitten, and he wants to give Lewis the opportunity to do something different. So he's like, hey, you should follow me. We got to bury the cat somewhere else. Lewis is like, dude, what's wrong with burying the cat right here? Like, I already dug the hole. So Judd and Lewis climb the giant wooden barrier, of course, because why wouldn't you climb the giant wooden barrier that's like 15, 20 feet tall? It's meant to keep people out. Why wouldn't you do that, right? Makes perfect sense. So they climb it. Judd goes, hey, you got to bury your animal here. You have to do it yourself. I can't help you. And yeah, you got to use these special rocks to cover the body. Lewis is like, what the okay, man, whatever. So they do the deed. They go back home. All of a sudden, the girl's like, hey, my cat was in the window last night. And Dad's like, what? They were going to tell the girl that the cat ran away. They didn't want to tell the girl that the cat died because the mom, Rachel, has this really weird thing about death. Her sister died when she was younger. She was afflicted with spinal meningitis. Her body was all crippled up. She was jacked. Like, it was bad. It was super bad. And she was left in charge of taking care of her sister one day, and she was not supposed to use the dumbwaiter in their home. She used the dumbwaiter to take food up to her sister, and somehow her very deformed sister made her way into the dumbwaiter. It plummeted to the ground. She died. So the mom hates talking about death. The mom knew the cat was dead because the father, of course, discussed it with her, and she didn't want to tell him that. So they were just going to tell the girl that the cat ran away. So in the process of telling her the cat ran away, the cat appeared the night before. And she's like, well, he's here. He's in the closet. So she points. And then Lewis goes open the closet door just to see this bloody, scuffed up cat is looking at him. And he's like, okay, the cat's fine. So the next day, he's going to talk to Judd, of course, and go, hey, dude, what's up with what you just told me to do the other night? The cat's alive. Now, simultaneously, the girl is, brushing the cat's hair. Now, they're going back and forth between Judd, Lewis, and the girl and the cat. So Judd and Lewis are having a discussion about the burial place and how it brings things back and all this other stuff. And the girl is, trying to clean her cat up. She's brushing the cat, and the cat's getting slowly agitated. The cat just flips out and just scratches her up. So, while this happens, Lewis gets back home. And she tells him the story about what happened with the cat. She's like, I don't want the cat in here anymore. Lewis is like, all right, fine. I'll take responsibility for the cat, because during the meantime, while they were discussing all this stuff, Judd basically says, you buried the cat. It was your daughter's cat. It's your cat now. He was hoping that the love for this animal would bring it back and everything would be fine. He was telling the story about how his dog came back, and his dog was buried with a mean streak, so he just thought that the place augmented it. He figured that the place would augment the cat's natural, demeanor towards the little girl. He was wrong. So, while this guy has now explained this stuff to Lewis, Lewis is wondering what the hell's going on with his cat. So the cat's just chilling, and they go about their normal day, of course. Lewis goes to sleep, and all of a sudden he has another out-of-body experience with the same guy that died, Jason Pascal. He basically visits Lewis and says, do not go to this place. The place where the cat was buried. He said the ground is sour. He's like, all right. He thought it was fake. He wakes up. He's got dirt all over his feet. His naked, bare feet. And I'm like, okay, what's up with this? This dude walked all the way to the freaking cemetery and walked back. His family had no idea. And he got back into bed with dirt foot. Like, all right, you ruin your white sheets if you want to. That's up to you. So anyway, he has this out-of-body experience, and his wife starts to have her own little flashbacks. She says, ever since I've been in this place, I've been feeling real weird. She's been thinking about her sister a lot. And it gives a flashback of everything I just said about the sister and the spinal meningitis and all this other crap. So, as the father is sitting with his daughter playing and talking one day, looking at her beautiful artwork, because she's a kid, kids draw great, he sees a stick figure with red coming out the back of his head. He's like, why'd you draw this? She's like, I didn't draw that. Gage drew that. So Gage, the little boy, is now seeing the ghostly figure of the dead guy, Jason Pascal. So he goes to check on Gage, and the freaking cat church is sitting on Gage's chest, like trying to suffocate him. So he freaking tosses the cat out of the way, grabs the kid, takes him out of the room, and the cat, of course, runs off, pissed. And he goes back to Judd and is like, yo, don't kill me. Pay attention, lady. Look both ways. Damn it, I hate that. So he goes back to Judd and is like, look, cat tried to hurt Gage. We got to do something about it. He's like, look, man, I'm sorry I took you to that place. You need to go ahead and off this cat with the quickness. Put him out of his misery and be done with your life. So Lewis goes back home, tries to euthanize the cat, holds him down, has some needle with death juice in it. And the cat, of course, switches back to normal kitty mode, where he looks all cute and pretty. And he's basically, hey, I'm the real church. I'm not the evil cat that you've been fighting with for the last couple days. So Lewis has a change of heart, throws Church in a freaking kennel or pet container transporter deal, and then takes him to some dead-end road and then basically leaves him. Super, super stupid, right? It already found its way home from the bring you back from the dead cemetery. You think it can't find its way home from a dirt road? Super dumb, dude. So he does this, and of course by now it is Halloween. Oh, I'm sorry, not Halloween. Halloween's past. It's the girl's birthday. Now, in the original movie, this is the part where I believe Gage actually bit the bullet. He got dead. But in this rendition, the little girl Ellie actually takes one for the team. So she is playing hide and seek with her friends, of course. Gage is hiding on the one side of a car. The Renko truck is speeding down the road. Now, this is all kind of simultaneous. Nobody knows really what's going on at this point. The little girl sees the cat approaching the house. She goes, hey, my cat's back. She thought he ran away. She goes to see the cat that she had already said she didn't want in her room, but now all of a sudden she's still back in love with this cat, which is weird. Kids, right? So Gage sees her run. He now sees her. He thinks he's going to win the game of hide and seek because he found her. He yells out her name to Truck speeding down the road. He gets distracted by, Jesus, what? He got distracted by those people who can't drive that Grand Prix. He gets distracted by his flip phone. Why this dude has a flip phone, no freaking idea. It's probably the most confusing part of the movie. And he starts to lose control of his vehicle because he looked down at his flip phone. The father sees Gage in the middle of the road. He runs out, grabs Gage. Truck driver looks up, immediately tries to veer off the road, detaching his payload, which is a giant freaking fuel container. It slides forward. The girl turns around, sees it sliding towards her. Screen goes black. Next thing you see is the big freaking tanker sliding across the road. She got dead. She got way dead. Mother runs out to try to see her daughter. Father runs out immediately after. He's a doctor. He can't save her. Next scene is the funeral. Done. It's like, holy crap. That was quick. It's a very short movie. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. But a lot happens. It's kind of hard to describe. You got to watch it. So, of course, they have the funeral ceremony. Everybody attends. The mother, the father, the little boy, the grandparents, and the mother and Gage go back home with the grandparents because she, of course, can't stay in the house and is, filled with grief. She needs some time away from there. The father stays home. He said, I'm going to clean up some stuff around the house. Meet you guys down there in a few minutes. Or not a few minutes, later. And, of course, we all know what's going to happen. The grief-stricken father, who's overcome with the death of his daughter, is going to take her to the bring me back from the dead freaking dirt pile. Now, I don't know what I would do in this situation. He had a normal kid. I love my daughter. My daughter is a freaking gymnast. I do not feel comfortable bringing back flipping zombie kid back from the dead. Yes, this is fictional, but holy crap. Can you imagine a zombie gymnast? No, sir. But, of course, as any grief-stricken father would do, he wanted to spend more time with his daughter, so he dug her up, drug her out to the pet cemetery, past the giant wooden beaver dam, and then reburied her and used the rocks. And of course, while all this is happening, there's an ominous presence in the forest. Like, it was called the Wendigo. They brought it up earlier in the movie. Older Native American boogeyman type deal. Wendigo's got a bunch of stories behind it. You gotta Google it if you really want to know. So, all this time, the Wendigo was supposedly watching this happen. The girl, of course, is buried. The father goes home, prepares her room for her, lays her out some nice clothes, and then, of course, there is a noise outside which causes him to be distracted. He goes out to investigate the noise. Meanwhile, Murder Cat's back in the house with the glowing eyes and everything. He's just chilling there like, yo, say something. So he walks by the cat like, whatever, cat. Goes out. Of course, there's nothing there. He turns around and he sees the dirty, dusty footprints leading back into his home. Of course, why not investigate that? He goes down to where the girl was supposed to be. He sees a mask of one of those pets that was actually on one of those burial markers at the cemetery. And then she goes, hi, Dad. Scares the bejesus out of this dude. So he turns around in shock, of course. He's like, what the hell's going on? Then he's like, oh, crying and tearing. And she goes, where am I? He's like, you're at home. Pretty much in the story. She goes, I remember some stuff. But it's really weird. So he goes to bathe her. He's like, let's clean you up. So he's cleaning her up, and she's saying, hey, I remember my birthday party. I remember this. I remember a truck. And then he's like, well, you don't need to worry about that. You're back now. She goes, back from where? I'm dead, aren't I? And I'm like, look, son. I don't care what nobody says. Once your dead kid says, I know I'm dead, you need to back out of that. You need to Control Z and undo and get up out of there, or you're screwed. So he's like, no, you're not dead, you're fine. Now he's brushing her hair. Now she's already had an autopsy performed on her. She's brushing her hair, and he sees the staples going down the back of her head because she had her freaking skull opened. Like, it's crazy what's happening. Her eyes all crooked. She looks beat up, like she got hit by a freaking truck. So she's in the house, talking to him about stuff. He's like, please, sweetie, just go to sleep. So they go to sleep. He lays in the bed with her, and they fall asleep. The next day, he wakes up. She's already downstairs. She's got the dress that she was buried in back on, doing some crazy dance moves in the living room, knocking stuff over, kicking stuff down, throwing pictures. He yells at her to stop. Get your stuff together. Calm down. In the meantime, the wife's calling. She's like, hey, I'm worried about you. You haven't been returning my calls. Gage keeps saying he needs to come home. He's saying he saw the guy that died in your clinic. Gage was never at the clinic. The ghost of Victor Pascal, or the spirit, or the whatever, specter, is warning them not to do things, to go home, to rescue the dad. Now, to me, this seems like a setup. Like, had they stayed away, none of this stuff that's about to happen would have happened. If he had not told the dad about the burial ground, maybe he wouldn't have thought to go to the burial ground. Seems like Victor is trying to help, or not Victor, Jason Pascal, Victor Pascal. His last name's Pascal. Seems like he's trying to help, but it's not really working out too good. So anywho, the parents, or the mom and Gage, are now on their way back home. Now, in the meantime, John Lithgow's character was drugged by Lewis because they were talking about, you know, how he's a grieving father, and John Lithgow's like, man, I'm sorry I ever showed you that place. Please don't do anything crazy. Oh, Purdy. He's like, yeah, I won't. Drink this. Knocks him out, leaves him by a campfire, covers him up, and then goes on about his day to go rebury his daughter in the Bring Me Back to Life cemetery. So now Judd has woken up. He has received a call from Rachel saying, hey, I've been trying to get in touch with Lewis all day, and he's just not calling me back. Can you go check on him? Judd, red flag immediately. He's like, yo, all right, I'll go check on him. He knows what happened, but he wants to go make sure, right? So he shows up at the house, knocks on the door. Lewis answers the door and says, hey, I still got that headache from last night, man. Pretty much feel like crap. I've been waiting on Rachel to call me all day. Judd, John Lithgow, he immediately got a scowl on his face. He's like, look, man, if you did something stupid, it's not too late to change it. Basically, he's like, yeah, all right, I'll talk to you later. So Judd goes to walk away, looks up and sees Ellie in the window of the house. I'm going to give that a big nope. So he runs home, grabs his gun, going through the house. Of course, he hears noises now because she saw him see her. Of course, she got out of the house, as ghostly zombie creatures do, faster than anything else, and she got to his house. So he's like seeing his pictures on the floor. He sees a picture by the bed. He goes to kick the picture and just boots the bed out of the way. He's like, yo, you ain't about to catch me with the whole under the bed trick. Nothing under the bed. He sees the cat walk by. He's walking down the stairs, turns around. He's like, oh, it's just a freaking cat. Shank! She stabs him in the ankle with the freaking scalpel and rips out his Achilles tendon. He fall down, go boom. He's all the way down the bottom of the stairs. Now she's menacing towards him, of course, with the freaking cat mask on again that she had. And man, what was old school day? I love those old cars. And she's telling him, hey, you suck. You sent your wife to die. She's in hell burning and all this other stuff. And then she morphs into the visage, the face of Judd's wife. And he's like, you ain't my wife, broad. And she says, well, your wife's burning and I'm going to send you to her. He's like, you're welcome to try. So she steps on the sliced Achilles tendon. He screams out. He's like, come and get some, bitch. He goes to reach for the gun and she just shakes him up. Like, seriously, like he was done. Now, by this time, Rachel has come home with Gage. They are now proceeding into the house. Lewis is surprised that they are there because he didn't know they were coming because he was not answering his phone calls. Don't kill me. He was not answering his phone calls, so they show up, surprise him. He's extra like, hey, how you doing, guys? Happy to see you. He's tossing the kid up in the air. Meanwhile, the mom's like looking around the house, looks down at his feet. She's like, what's up, dude? Why are your feet so muddy? What's going on here? And he goes, yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you. I needed some more time with her. Basically, he admitted to burying his daughter at the pet cemetery, bringing her back. And then the mom, of course, gets the scary, teary look, looks over, daughter runs up to her, hi, mommy, and hugs her. And he's like, hug your daughter. She's like, nope, this ain't my daughter. Grabs the kid. Gage runs upstairs, locks herself in the bedroom, and then the little girl runs off because she's upset and afraid and scared, which, you know, it kind of plays on the fact that maybe there's some part of her still alive in there, but you know it ain't. So Lewis runs upstairs. She's like, let me in. Let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the story. Let me talk to you about what's going on. She's like, all right. Lets him in. They discuss some stuff. She basically, you know, gives him the business for bringing their daughter back from the dead. Daughter overhears it, runs off. He's like, let me go find her. She's like, yeah, whatever, dude. She locks the door again and then immediately has another freaking out-of-body experience of her sister. She now has traded spaces with her sister, so she's now the one affected by the spinal meningitis. She's all deformed, she's jacked up, and she's going through this, and all of a sudden she hears a noise. Wakes up. Of course, the daughter has now found a way into the locked room, and then ensues with a fight. I don't know how strong zombie kids are, but she had to weigh 50, 60 pounds. I'm pretty sure the mom could have taken her. She's got a steak knife, so it's a slight advantage. So she's trying to shank the mom up. She gets 1 or 2 slices in, and then shiv right in the side. Mom's like, screw this. Boots her off the bed. Grabs the little boy up, tries to run away. The girl jumps up, grabs her by the foot. She takes another boot to the face. She gets knocked out for a quick second. Mom runs away, hides in the bathroom, barricades herself in. And then the dad, of course, thought the girl was out of the house. He's looking for her, winds up at Judd's house, finds Judd's massacred, mutilated body. He immediately beelines back to the house, his house, to try to rescue his wife and son, because now it just clicked, holy crap, I got a murderer in the house. So he runs in, up to the front porch. The mom just is like, screw this, gets a chair, throws it out the window. It's just like, take your son. Meanwhile, the girl is breaking into the bathroom door. Somehow she's overpowering this barricade. Rachel drops Gage into Lewis's arms, gets shanked right in the back. It's like, holy crap, people, move faster. You could have prevented all this, whatever. So the girl shanks her up yet again. They go fight some more, and the girl's just sitting there shanking her. She stabbed her again and then left the knife in, and she's talking to her about how bad of a mom she is and all this other stuff. Gage is locked in the car by Lewis to protect him from the daughter, and of course himself. He says, don't open the door for anybody, no matter what. And he runs back in the house. Of course, by now he's back in the house. The girl is gone. The mom is on the floor dying. He's going to come to her aid because he's a doctor. And then 2 seconds later, he gets that same chair to the back of the head, knocked out. The girl takes mom, buries her in the pet cemetery, and that's that. He wakes up in the middle of the night, tries to go catch them, ends up fighting the daughter in the cemetery because he's like, I don't want you to bury your mom here. I need to kill you. I need to end this. They're fighting. She somehow overpowers him, gives him a WWE like kick to the face. He goes down. She reaches for the shovel. He takes the shovel from her, goes into his monologue. She starts flipping out because the demon inside her is like, I want to live, all this other crap. He goes to give her the coup de grace with the shovel. He gets run through with a freaking rebar burial pyre, like crazy. The mom has now been brought back to life. She shanked him up. He got dead. Everybody got dead but the baby. 2 seconds later, you see them with the same scene over the wooded area. They're coming through. Now you see smoke. They burned down Judd's house. And then you see the trail leading up to the house. And then all of a sudden you see them walking, and the cat mounts the front of the hood of the car. Gage is waving to mom and dad. He's like, what's up? And unfortunately, you hear the sound of the doors unlocking, and you just know that Gage is dead from there. You see the 2 handprints on the front door, same handprints that you saw in the beginning of the movie, which alludes you to show that the beginning of the movie was actually foreshadowing, showing you that was the actual end of the movie. They got the little boy, they killed him, they burned down Judd's house. Police are over here. Somebody's getting towed. Must be deleted scenes. So, there is an alternate ending. I forget what the alternate ending actually was, and like I said in the original movie, Gage is the one that died and not Ellie. So, I would give this a 6.57 out of 10. You have to remember that this is a Stephen King adaptation film. It is not based off of today's horror and gore standards. Back in the day, this probably would have scared the crap out of some people. We're so out of tune and desensitized nowadays that some people wouldn't think this is scary. This probably would have did it if this was released back in 89, 92. So, like I said, I give it a 6.57. If you're interested in it, go ahead, check it out. Thanks for listening to me yap. Hopefully this was much shorter than my normal movie reviews. This was not a very deep movie, but it was something that I felt was worth a watch. Catch you guys later.